Okay, hi everyone. So I'm here today with Aga, which I'm really excited to chat to. So Aga is a life purpose coach, and she's deeply passionate about helping people to find their joy and find what lights them up in life. And I'd say you're a real free spirit, and uh, that's one thing I know of Aga. And Aga and I met Aga about, what was it, 2016, I think, back in London.
Mhm.
And I went to this meetup, and I was just really inspired by her energy, and she's inspired me ever since. So it's really great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for inviting me to your
Oh,
channel as well. It's amazing.
great. And how are you at the moment? How are you finding this whole situation with, COVID?
Very well, and surprisingly, despite the fact that we're in a world pandemic, I've been saying to people that I feel like 2020 is one of the best years that happened to humanity. I
Mm.
can only see good, even though obviously we had hard times, we've lost some members of the family due to COVID, I still find the positives in it, and I kind of feel like it's a really big silver lining in the
Mm.
whole humanity when looking at that. Mm.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I love that you always see the positive. That's your gift. I feel like you can always see the silver lining of things in what you do. So, I mean, I'd love to hear and for everyone to kind of understand a bit more about what you do, because Aga was my coach back in 2017. Gosh, it's ages ago now, seems. And she really helped me to kind of just express my creativity and help build a business within that. So I know you're doing life coaching at the moment. So what is your process in that, with your clients?
If I can just mention, I remember that time when we were doing our coaching together and how I asked you, would you like to do the videos? And you were just so shy and said, I'll never do videos.
Yes.
And I remember they just put the camera on and I said, do you know what, we've got to do it now. And you were like, oh no. But look at you now, making all the videos or doing the lives. This is amazing.
Thank
But I
you.
think what you're welcome. I think what I do as a coach, I really like to listen to my intuition, and I'm very intuitive coach. So I've been a life coach. My journey with the coaching started many years ago when I was also having my clinic and I was a beauty therapist. I've discovered that sometimes people will come to me for a chat and they said, oh, you don't have to do the treatment, let's just have a conversation. Because I was always able to dig deep and find the reasons and the problems they might have, and then together we will always kind of find the solutions to these problems. So that's how I kind of became a life coach, and currently I am in Sheffield and I'm working on a project under NHS, and I help people with the mental and physical health conditions to either start a dream job or start a business. So my
Wow.
favorite part is when I can help someone who, for instance, really suffered, they've got really bad health. They kind of want to start something new, and then I just walk in, and it's just amazing. Again, I've helped few people record the videos as well, like I did with you. So I'm laughing now that it's almost my expertise now, to start entrepreneurs, be more visible online, start the channels. But it's very rewarding, very rewarding.
Mm. That's beautiful. I just love that you're helping people find their joy and their purpose. And so what kind of like mental health things do they have?
Anxiety, depression, bipolar, and all sorts of different, mental and health conditions.
Mm.
Obviously, I work closely with psychologists. I work closely with occupational therapists. I work closely, with GPs, um, physiotherapists as well, because every single person might need a different approach. So obviously, I'm not a psychologist. This is why when someone suffers from depression, I have to send them to the specialist, and then they come to me. Because what happens with the life coaching, obviously, we focus on the vision, we focus on the future, we focus on the positive. psychologists can kind of dig deeper, and they focus on the problem, where I'm focusing on the solutions. And I
Mm.
think that's the beauty of it. The only thing that really struck me with this job is that some people, they reach, because my caseload, my customers, I had 35 customers in a caseload, and the age varies from 35 to 60. I think one is the oldest person. And so obviously it's a huge variety of people. And because they're all coming from NHS, the level of awareness is just different in every single person. Some people are really open to new, they're very spiritual. Others are not so much. So I really have to adjust myself, because if I say to someone who's not spiritual and on a different stage of awakening, they don't even understand what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. So I kind of have to lower myself to their way of thinking as well. But it's just all exciting. But
Mm.
what I discovered is that people very often don't pay attention to what the body is telling them. And for many, many years, they get trapped in the rat race. And
Mm.
then suddenly they find themselves going through a heart attack or some stroke or some kind of a problem where awakening comes to them, and they realize that, oh my gosh, there must be more to life. And I love working with people like this, because then I don't know if you remember that book by Louise Hay, How You Can Heal Your Life.
Yeah.
I use this book a lot as well, and I explain them, this is probably the emotional feeling that you had, and this is what led you to where you are right now in life. And it's just so beautiful how some people are just mind blown by how much we can learn just by the health conditions they have.
That's amazing. And I think it's great that you bring the spiritual element into it, because I think, that is such an important part of the, self-development pathway, is actually learning to trust yourself, learning to trust your intuition that we were talking about earlier. And I love that when I worked with you, you brought in the human design aspect of it, because for anyone that knows about human design, Aga really knows her stuff. And it's just so fascinating to know what your strategy is. And actually, when I found out as projector, like Aga is, I was just like, this makes so much sense, that is the strategy. So I wonder, I guess you said you have to adjust to the people, but do you use that in the way you work with those clients at all in the end?
Again, with some clients, yes, but others, they're not so open for it. So I have to be really careful and, choose who I can introduce to the concept. I've also trained as a genius report coach. So that's very similar to human design, but not as in depth. And we're helping people to find their, purpose as well, and what's the best career for them and stuff. But yeah, I just love human design, and for me, it makes such a huge difference, who I'm talking to, because I know if I'm talking to projector, it's completely different from when I'm talking to someone who is a manifesting generator or even manifestor. And even that, having those knowledge as well, even without me knowing the type, I can almost sense it, what they are. So yeah, it's been very helpful for me and some of my clients too.
Amazing. So just for anyone that doesn't know about human design, would you be happy to just go through the basics? Because, or we can talk about the basics of projector, what's it, the other one, generator, and the manifestor, I think.
Yeah, the manifesting generator and then reflector. So there are kind of 5 types, even though they say generator and manifesting generator are the same thing. 70% of population are actually generators. Us projectors are only around 21%. Then we have only 1% of reflectors, and then the rest is manifestors. Okay. So for us, we born guides. We're here to guide others. We're here to guide the energy. We're here to be coaches. We're here to be mentors. We're here to be counselors. We're here to be working with people. We're just people person. And then manifesting generators, they're the builders of the world. And I think that's just so amazing, because we need them, but they need our guidance. Then the manifestor, that the type that's here to manifest and to give us ideas and inform. And reflectors are almost like a mirror reflection to the whole humanity.
It's so
And
fascinating.
obviously you've got different type of projectors, because I'm splenic. I think you're also splenic,
Yeah.
but you have also different. You've got emotional authority. You have mental authority. So
So
it's all
how,
sorts of different. I mean, it is a really long subject.
sorry, the internet was a bit slow, that's why I sound like I'm talking over you. What was the, so how can people use that to help them? Because when I realized I was splenic, as you said, I think it's I am act from my gut, and it's like a very, it's a knowing, but it's hard to grasp. That's what I find from my chart. And when I look at astrology, you can connect them with astrology. So so I guess, how do you use that to help people understand themselves?
I think when it comes to, let's talk about the splenic, for instance, it's all about that intuition, that knowing in the moment. Is
Mm.
a very quiet voice and only speaks once. But once you're truly in tune with yourself, and when you really believe in yourself and trust yourself, your life just unfolds naturally. Like, it was so funny. Just before I came to Sheffield, I was in Gran Canaria, and we were planning to stay there for longer. But I remember this really vivid dream where I had my grandma came to me in my dream and said, "I want you to go back home." And
Wow.
it was so vivid that the next day I woke up and I booked my tickets back to UK, because I knew I had to go back.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said to my partner, "I need to go back. We need to go back. I don't know why, but we need to go back." And we came back, and then that job happened. It was just literally happened out of nowhere, and then everything unfolded in an amazing way. And then I'm just so grateful, because imagine if I was in Spain with that COVID situation, it would be a really big struggle for us.
Mm.
Where being in England is just so much easier, because it is home for us at the end of the day. But I
Yeah.
think for us, it's a long process to learn about yourself. My partner is a manifesting generator. He's got emotional authority. Then again, I'm still trying to teach him with his
So how
life.
does that work? Because, as you said, what I understand is the generators are kind of like a real, it's a more powerful, it's it's a more encompassing energy, whereas the projector is more sharp and kind of more intense. Because I've heard that people think us projectors feel intense. So how does that work with the two energies in a relationship?
I was invited to this relationship. I felt really recognized and invited, and he actually invited me twice.
Oh,
As like, we had those two episodes in our lives, but the first time he invited me, even though I was like, nah. And then the second time, again, it was a strong invitation and recognition. This is why I said okay to it, and it felt good in the gut as well. So I think it's just learning how important for us projector the invitation is in recognition,
mm,
because that just makes the life so much easier. That's for sure.
mm.
So yeah, I guess for the two of us, it's a good combination, because I try to guide him. I try to tell him how to do things, even though obviously sometimes it's not the way they want to be. I've also learned that he listens, so that's really good.
Yes. Well, that
most
is
of the time,
key.
most of the time he says, "Oh yeah, you're right." It means a lot to me.
Wow. Well, that's really important. And I think, actually, when you say about the invitation with the projector, when I learned that about myself, it's like, oh, that makes it so much easier. I don't have to force things to happen. I'll actually get invited when the time is right. But then that's when I notice my frustration can come in, when I want to initiate things, but I have to wait. So that's an interesting one to navigate. But anyway, it's a fascinating topic that we could probably talk all day about. So yeah, so the other part of this is, I know as well, you do life coaching on the side, and you have many talents, because you also do Reiki. I don't know if you practice that anymore, and you think you trained in NLP, was it? So how is your process different to the clients you work with in the NHS?
So when I work with clients, not with the NHS, I've got huge opportunities to really talk openly about the spirituality, about the healing energies, about angels, if I like, about the universe, about everything that helped me along my journey to get to where I am in the state of mind. I always say to people that, what success is to me is to see other people succeeding. And I think that is just the most important part. I think that's just so different. And obviously, so recently we've opened a clinic as well. I'm also a trained beauty therapist. I used to have my clinic in London. When I sold it, I got rid of it. But we kind of reopened the clinic, but it's completely different to what it was before. And now, when I invite or when I get the customers coming to the clinic, it's just different because I can feel. Are you frozen for a little bit? Hold
Oh,
on,
I'm
what happened?
back.
Oh yeah, you're back. Okay, I thought you were frozen.
So,
So yeah, it's just so nice because working with the customers and the NHS, some of them are really concerned about lack of money. They don't have a job, for instance, and they kind of want to find out the way how to go back to work. They suffer from it. I really like to work with people who have the basics covered, so they don't have to worry about money and the shelter, but they can work about themselves, the personal development, and just improving themselves. So I really love that.
it's so fascinating. I mean, and it's so rewarding the work you do, and the work I do is just with astrology, is helping people understand themselves and actually, finding what lights them up, because that's what life is about. And I love this is I always think, when I think of you, you just bring a smile to my face, because I think Aga is just all about having fun, and I think that is such an important part of life, but often we'll take life too seriously, and actually we really need a good sense of humor to kind of, particularly in these times, to bring it back to life is not all serious. Like, that is, for me, that's not happiness. We've got to have the laughter as well. So I love that about the way you work. It's such a key theme, I feel, for you.
Yeah, I think what's important is, what I've noticed, many people almost killed their inner child and they completely are detached from the inner child. Well, my inner child is super important to me. So when you say that, you look at me and you see that funny, joyful person, I am very close to my inner child. I don't want this to die. I want to be that, happy person, positive person, because it's important for me.
Yeah, it's so key. So what wisdom, what guidance would you give to anyone to help them connect with their inner child?
Don't be afraid to have fun. Um, Again, that's maybe crazy thing to say, but what I've noticed is sometimes people get drunk and they suddenly become really joyful and brave to express themselves. And I sometimes say to people, try to be as brave and courageous as if you were drunk, and try how it feels. Because it just takes courage. All it takes is to have that courage to express yourself, to be yourself, to have that inner child. When you watch small kids, they're not worrying about, oh my gosh, what other people are going to say about me if I do something like this. They don't worry about that. And I think as adults, we worry too much about what others are going to say, and that's how we lose the connection with just being us, with being ourselves, having fun. It is allowed. But so many people think, I'm an adult now, I should be serious. Come on, if I'm gonna be a little bit crazy, people think that I'm just
No,
not not right in my mind. So I'm like, well, just don't be afraid of being judged. Just go out there and have fun.
I love that. I love that. It's great advice. No, it's true. And I think as well, we're so worried what people will think of us, that stops us being that free spirit, that stops us going out and playing and doing something different. I actually tell my clients, oh, my internet. I tell my clients to go out on artist dates every week. So it's just doing something fun for you, for your inner child, that lights you up, and it gives you that inspiration. That's where inspiration comes from. If we follow that impulse, we're going to experience more joy and more, more vitality and more peace in our lives, right? I mean, I think that also helps anxiety. I've definitely seen that as a key to success. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's like what they say depression is. Depression is when you've been suppressing yourself for too long. You can't really be you because you were told that you should be living your life like everybody else. And then you become depressed because it's just, you can't live to your full potential. You're not being yourself. So I try to say to people, just look at yourself from a different perspective. And I think as being a life coach, some people don't understand what the life coaching is actually. So the way I explain it to them is, if you didn't have a mirror, how would you know what is your eye color? Um, you will have to ask somebody else to tell you what is your eye color. So this is what the life coaching is all about. We can see you from the outside. You know how with the astrology, obviously if like in my case I'm Aquarius, but then my moon is in Leo. Obviously I'm almost like two different people, isn't it? Because I always think I'm fragile and sensitive, and then suddenly I'm strong in Leo. So it's like,
yeah.
it's just amazing combination when someone else can tell you, this is how I see you.
I love that. This is how I see you. Yeah, it's true. And I mean, we're so close to ourselves that we miss our blind spots as well. Not only the good things, but also where we're self-sabotaging, and it's right there, but we need somebody else to point it out and guide us, And that's why I love astrology as well, is what you said. Your sun is the way you express yourself in the world, but your moon, like your moon in Leo, you need to care for that. That's the deepest part of you that needs, treating and nurturing like your little child. So, it's just so fascinating to have these tools that we can use to help people. So I'd love to know a bit more as well, because I know your story is interesting, of how, what actually led you first onto the spiritual path. Was there significant?
I remember since I was a child, I was always curious. I remember one of my first books when I learned how to read was 100 Proofs That God Exists. Because I remember my parents always telling me to go to church, but I was like, but how do you know that God is there? Who told you that? So my first book was like 100 Proofs That God Exists, because I wanted to make sure that He's really there.
Oh wow!
I
Love.
know. And then my mom, she was also quite spiritual, even though she never talked about it a lot, but she would always buy this magazine, and the magazine was called A Fortune Teller. So I would always read this magazine, and there were so many amazing stories
Right.
about people talking about the past, the future, and the horoscopes. And then life happened, and I completely forgot all about it. I then became a young mom. I moved to UK, and then the rat race happened, and I was so stuck in the rat race that I didn't have a time for spirituality at all. And then I remember that one day, so before I was just talking with a friend, and she gave me the book about the angels. And I was always really interested about the angels and the meditation. So I was taking those small steps. I started to meditate. And I remember she gave me that book. And one day I was walking back home because I had to take my car to the garage. And I was walking back home. It was a beautiful day. And I was walking back home crying like crazy, thinking to myself, what's wrong with you? You have such a good life. You have a business. I had my clinic then back in London. You have a beautiful house. You have a child. You have a husband. You have everything that they were telling you, this is your goal, end goal, this is the aim. And I feel so unhappy and so miserable. And I remember I got home and I opened that book. And on that book, there was, sorry, that was my just, on that book, there was an exercise. An exercise requested you to look into the mirror and also almost having a conversation with the angels. So there are a few questions that you had to answer, but almost having like a dialogue with yourself in the mirror, or kind of visualizing an angels. And I remember that was such a powerful experience that it stuck with me for forever. So, oh my gosh, I've cried and cried and cried. I've cried my eyes out. But you know what? All the answers that I was able to write down, it was like a channeling, something that I've never experienced before. And it was just such an incredible experience. And what happened after that? Not long after that, because if that happened probably September, about a month or two, a couple of months later, I've decided to separate from my husband. I've decided to join different groups. I started to go out more with different people. I was looking into spirituality meetups. I then, again, it was just so funny. I met someone new who came into my life, and we were both like really passionate about meditation and the spirituality. And the step by step, as I would go deeper and deeper and deeper into that spiritual journey, I decided that I didn't want to have that business anymore, because I was there from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening. I didn't have a time for myself, for my son, for anything. And all I wanted was to have freedom. And eventually, I got rid of the business. Relationship is still going, we're still together with that person. But I just felt we both grew on that spiritual journey as well. And it was not easy, but it was definitely worth it. And I just remember that time when one day we sat in our house in London, and I said, I don't want to be here anymore for winter. It's going to be cold. And it took us 4 weeks to get rid of everything. And then we moved to Gran Canaria. And then again, that was this, process of having faith that things will work out. Also selling everything, I felt so light with all these things that accumulated for 10 years of living in London, furniture, cars, clothes, and everything. When we gave all this away, I felt so light. I was left with one suitcase, and then one small hand luggage, and my son also the same, and I went. And I always say to people, it wasn't easy. It was really difficult. I don't know if you've seen Matrix, that movie.
Yeah.
But Dalio, when he decided to go for that pill, his life didn't become any easier. It was really hard. But at the same time, he became super strong, and he could cope with all the situation and with everything that Universal was throwing at him. So, as I say, it wasn't easy. We had lots of ups and downs on the way, lots of failures and disappointments. But I think that faith, that inner faith, I was like, I'm just going to keep going. Meditate, believe in your angels, keep going.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And I love that it comes back to faith, as you said, that situation where you're in the mirror with the angels. And it's almost like if we're open to that support, we're always supported. I believe we're always supported by the universe, whatever people call it, God, universe, whatever it is. If you ask for guidance, you'll get it. And I think that's what we need to learn. And it's hard, as you say, it's not easy that you just wake up one day and you just full on believe. It's actually, I think, trusting yourself in that and trusting you're guided. And I think it's almost like that's part of our purpose. If we trust, we'll be guided to our purpose, as you said. So yeah, it's incredible. So what would you say as words of wisdom to anyone that is kind of in a difficult place right now, that's struggling? What would you say to them to help them kind of persevere on that spiritual path?
Get to know yourself. Like, really get to know yourself. But not don't listen to people, that family and friends telling you what they think you should do. Really get to know yourself. Maybe get astrology reading, maybe get human design reading, maybe get a coach that helps you to look at yourself from a different perspective. But getting to know yourself, start journaling, start writing about yourself, who you are, who would you like to be. What really helped me was Paul McKenna and his hypnosis. So you can do it online, change your life in 7 days. He keeps asking you about visualize yourself. What would you like to be in a year's time? And that is so powerful, when you keep feeding your mind with this pictures of what would you like to be, who do you want to be, how do you want to look like, how do you want to speak, how do you want to behave, what do you want to wear. It makes such a huge difference. I mean, we've got the power to use our mind to create things we want, where very often people let the mind be the master. It's not the case. The mindset is just the tool that we should use, to become the master of it. And I think that's the power, just know yourself first, and then, as Shakespeare says, know thyself, and then the life will be much easier. It all starts with that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it makes so much sense. I mean, you've definitely helped me understand myself a lot more, and just delving into all these different things, as people, as you said, whether it's astrology, human design, or oracle cards, whatever it is for people. I think the more you connect with that, you're also connecting with yourself as well, which is key to moving forward. I mean, astrology's been life-changing for me, and I'm sure as you with human designs really help you as well. So I think people just need to explore, as you said. So I mean, I literally could talk to you all day. It's so amazing. So how can people find more about you and your work?
So currently they can find me on Instagram, obviously under my aga underscore cop, KOPP. My Facebook page and my personal website are under construction right now. And also the fact that I had such a big caseload, I had so many clients, I did not want to take anybody else on board. So I had to kind of block this for now. But once this project is done, I will be reopening again. So it will be agacop.net.
Okay.
That's the website. And then if someone wants, obviously, a treatment, as I mentioned earlier on with the clinic is called Beyond the Clinic, because there's much more beyond that than just the clinic.
Love that, yeah. That's a great metaphor, Aga. Love it. I'll drop all the links in the description thing for everyone anyway. And lastly, I guess what is your kind of intention at the moment? What are you focusing on in yourself and in your life right now?
Well, I think it is walking in faith and keeping the vision. What I've realized is that the universe always puts me in the right place, and I don't have to force things. And that's what I'm doing right now, to master that bit, because obviously I'm just a human, and sometimes you want to get into control. So I'm trying to completely let go of control and I know the universe will put me exactly where I'm meant to be, because my life mission is to help as many people as I can. And it's been amazing, because wherever I go, I always meet the person that needs my help. Even like we were talking about that trip to Liverpool that I told you about before we started. I went there and I met a girl who just finished her life coaching qualifications, and she needed someone to push her, and I was just there. It was like not coincidences at all, but it was just incredible. So basically my life mission is to go with the flow and trust that the universe will always put me in the right place, so I can help as many people to awake, to see more, to become their real selves, and just to give them courage to live the happy life.
Wow, how exciting, how inspiring. It's amazing. I love talking to you, and I think you inspire a lot of people, and you just have to be open, as you said. You're open. When we're open, we meet the right people and everything works out. It's when we try and push.
That's the secret of projectors. The vibe does the job. The vibe does the job. We don't have to do much. It's just the vibe. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Be visible, and the people come to you. It's like us. We just met, and
I know, right?
Connection, So
it was amazing. I remember the first time I saw you in this little group. Was it in the Southwark in London, in this festival hall or something? And I just remember you there with your suitcase, and I just remember thinking your energy was so vibrant, and like you were just like full of life. I was like, I want to be like that, just like you were living.
You are.
Oh,
You are like me. I mean, you are like that now with your amazing energy, sharing
oh,
knowledge and sharing your, positivity with everybody else. I always read your posts. It's just incredible
thank
to
you.
watch you, because I remember obviously when we started that journey. It's been incredible. You went from that closed bud like a flower, to
Yeah.
suddenly being that amazing flourish, blossoming flower. It's just so
Oh,
lovely to watch.
thank you. Well, you need help along the way. You definitely helped me there. And anyone else, we all support each other. I think the last thing to say is we're not alone on this journey, because the spiritual path can be isolating, and funny enough, when I met you, I know that was a period of time I was struggling and I was looking for my people. And I think the other part is we need to find our tribe, we need to find our soul tribe of people that encourage us and support us. So, yes, keep shining your light. Oh, thank you, Aga. It's been so much
Yeah.
fun. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'll drop all your links below and everyone can connect with you there.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Aga.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Bye.